You ever wake up one morning, sipping your coffee, admiring the new truck you finally bought after years of saving, and then get hit with a 75 HOA fine before you've even finished your first cup? Yeah, that's how I met Lorraine, or as the entire neighborhood now calls her, the Duchess of Pinewood Estates. It all started when I rolled my brand new Obsidian Black Titan 2500 into my driveway. Not the street, not the sidewalk. My driveway. The sun hit the hood just right, and I swear, it looked like a scene out of a car commercial. I was feeling good, proud. Then I heard it. "Excuse me!" A voice sharp enough to cut drywall came shrieking from the sidewalk. I turned around, and there she was, Lorraine, wrapped in a silk robe, gripping a clipboard like it was a medieval scepter. "You're disrupting the neighborhood's visual balance," she said, with the kind of tone you'd use if I had parked a tank on her rose bushes. I blinked. "It's in my driveway." She didn't blink back. "It violates Section 4B of the HOA guidelines. No oversized vehicles impeding neighborhood aesthetics." I kid you not, she pulled out a ruler from her robe pocket. That afternoon, a friendly reminder was taped to my front door. Violation, oversized vehicle. Fine, $75. The fine didn't bother me. What bothered me was the timestamp. Issued less than an hour after our little interaction. Coincidence? Not likely. Next day, another notice. Non-compliant commercial vehicle. Which was interesting, because it's just a pickup, not a backhoe. Then came the third. The exhaust noise shattered the tranquility of someone's home meditation session. Spoiler, she lives 6 houses down. At first, I thought she just hated trucks. But then, I caught her on camera measuring my hood with a tape measure. I posted it in the neighborhood group with the caption, "When your neighbor confuses the HOA with Homeland Security." Comments exploded. Turns out I wasn't her only target. One guy said she reported his minivan. Another said she wrote up his Halloween decorations in July. I was starting to realize something. Lorraine wasn't just enforcing HOA rules. She was creating them. Self-appointed. Self-empowered. She even added compliance liaison to her email signature. That title doesn't exist. We checked. But then she did something that crossed the line. She called 911 on my truck. The police showed up, looked around, and asked, "This your vehicle?" "Yep." "Parked legally?" "Yep." They turned to Lorraine, who was across the street with binoculars and a notepad. "Ma'am," the officer said, "this is a civil matter, not criminal." She yelled, "It's visual pollution." He responded, "You got a permit for being this annoying." I laughed. She didn't. I figured that was it. She'd been publicly embarrassed. Time to move on, right? Wrong. This is when she went full villain origin story. She started spreading rumors, said I was running a business out of my garage, that I stored hazardous materials, that the neighborhood wasn't zoned for construction-grade vehicles, and suddenly, people started avoiding me. Kids weren't allowed to play near my yard. Even Greg, our HOA president, wouldn't return my calls. Then came the unannounced property inspection. 2 board members snapping photos of my backyard like they were scouting for HGTV. I asked, "Who authorized this?" They said, "Lorraine." Apparently, she claimed temporary oversight while Greg was sick. Greg ran a 5K 2 days later. That's when I decided, if she wanted war over chrome and concrete, she was gonna get it. But first, I had to find out what her deal really was. That's when I discovered the shortcut. Turns out, Lorraine had been using a hidden footpath behind our houses, a narrow trail that crossed HOA-owned land, leading to the main road. Saved her about 3 minutes of walking. I dug up old meeting records. Turns out she voted to close that trail years ago, citing safety concerns. But she kept using it anyway, like it was her personal backdoor escape route from the common folk. And here's the kicker. Part of that trail ran through HOA land I had easement rights on. So I documented everything. Security cam footage, GPS timestamps, photos of delivery guys she'd redirected through the trail like it was a VIP entrance. My favorite was a recording of her saying, "Nobody else uses it. It's basically mine now." I submitted it all to the board. Next HOA meeting, Lorraine strutted in with her clipboard like she was ready to announce another bogus fine. Instead, Greg said, "We'd like to address unauthorized use of HOA property." Her face dropped faster than housing prices in a termite outbreak. She stammered, denied, blamed old rules. But the evidence was overwhelming. Motion passed, trail closed, gate locked, access revoked. And I offered to cover half the cost. The next morning, I sipped my coffee watching contractors install the gate. Lorraine stood there, grocery bags in hand, frozen. Shortcut, gone. But she wasn't done. Oh no, this wasn't about the truck anymore. This was about control. So she did what any HOA tyrant would do. She forged a city permit to build a fence across public land. To reclaim her sacred trail, she hired unlicensed contractors. The city found out in under a week. Permit was fake, signed by a city official who'd been retired for 3 years. She got slapped with a $5,000 fine. Local news picked it up. The segment? Neighborhood HOA Queen under fraud investigation. But even that wasn't the end. Because as the city investigated the fence, they found more. Lorraine had extended her backyard into the HOA green belt, built a koi pond, flower beds, a stone patio, all on land that didn't belong to her. She even put up a private property, no trespassing sign, on community land. City surveyors confirmed she encroached 128 square feet. They gave her 30 days to rip it all out. Her response? A garage sale titled, "Letting Go of My Sanctuary." She screamed at people not to step on her sacred stones of peace. One guy tried to buy a flamingo statue. She snatched it like it was a relic from the Louvre. Contractors came anyway, drained the pond, jackhammered the patio, hauled off everything. We found a laminated scroll buried under the stones that read, "This backyard is hereby declared a sovereign HOA microstate, free from bureaucratic tyranny." I could not make this up. But wait, there's more. We discovered she rigged every HOA election for the past 4 years. Ballots with names of people who moved out. Duplicate votes in the same handwriting. She literally elected herself, counted the votes, and emailed herself the results. Greg finally cracked, told the truth, said she blackmailed him using an old land classification mistake he made as a city employee. He admitted it all. And at the next meeting, Lorraine was permanently banned from holding any HOA position. Ever. Even the garage sale committee. But the final poetic justice, that shortcut she once used to rule the cul-de-sac like her private kingdom, we turned it into a community park. Benches, trees, a grill named after T-Bone Thomas, a big sign at the entrance, Unity Walkway for everyone, no shortcuts, no queens. And right below it, a bench with a quote chosen by the neighborhood. All shortcuts lead to the long way round eventually. KDH unintentionally. Lorraine moved out a month later. Her house listed as motivated seller, HOA not included. She ended up in a condo across town with strict parking rules and a no-pet policy. Rumor is she got fined $50 for a wind chime. And me? I still park my truck proudly in my driveway. And every time I walk past that trail, I smile. Because in the end, it wasn't just about the truck. It was about standing up. And finally, shutting the gate on people who think the rules only apply to others. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever dealt with a power-hungry HOA member? Or maybe a neighborhood tyrant who thought they were above the rules? Drop your story in the comments. I read every single one. Let's talk about it.